more stuff.
We are. We're gonna have a little bit of fun tonight. We're gonna see if we can get a couple extra people to come join us tonight, and then we're gonna start doing a little bit of storytelling, some map making, some collaborative map making. So we should have a good time.
Yeah.
See if we get anybody here shortly. If not, me and you are just gonna kind of do a little
Yeah, a little
back and
tinkering.
forth, come up with an idea.
Yeah, and we can talk about some other ideas that we've had and talked about doing some stuff. Um, if people as people start filtering in, we'll talk about that stream we were talking about on Thursday
Mm-hmm.
and see what anybody thinks. Uh, Another TTV viewer is here. Let's do this. Music is here. I
Well,
am
welcome
here.
in. Please feel free to comment, say hi.
Yeah. Okay. So messing with maps.
Yes. So we're messing with maps tonight. So tonight we are playing around in Inkarnate, specifically um, their battle maps, their encounters. So, and they have some really cool tools, including brushes, these amazing stamps that can go from anything. In all honesty, it's got tons and tons of stamps. So we can really play around with this idea to come up with an idea that's going to be fun and exciting.
You know, I've messed a little bit with Incarnate in my home campaigns. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I did, the big sweeping uh, geography maps. I haven't done any kind of battle maps. And
Yeah.
luckily, since we're running Gooey Cube stuff, we don't have to worry about those big sweeping maps. We've got, some
Right.
beautifully hand drawn maps to keep an eye on. But battle
Exactly.
maps are going to be a thing.
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons I thought this would be a fun one to play around with is because, yeah, so since our stream normally is ran by with the GUI cube mentality, we are able to then um, utilize those maps freely. But battle maps are always something that the world of tabletop gaming and specifically the tabletop um, virtual gaming that we have to deal with, and it's a bleeding pain a lot of times for a DM because we don't just have the option to grab a bunch of pieces, grab a grid board, draw it up real fast, and be there.
Yeah.
So a lot of times it takes a little bit of extra planning. Sometimes it even takes a little bit of metagaming on the DM's part, where it's a little more driven than I would say a normal game would be on at your just regular table,
Hmm.
just so that the DM can be prepared for 3 or 4 maps. And of course, you've always got those random maps of like a random forest, a random river, a random mountain, depending on the area that people are heading in. But when you start getting into deeper things like a library or a temple or a cavern, and that you need these specific details to make sure that the map feels correctly when the encounter goes off, you got to do a little extra planning now.
So James, I actually had an idea, and I'm going to spring it on you here now, even though because this is such a wonderfully planned stream. But I have an
Oh,
idea
yeah.
of what we could do on
Okay.
stream that will contribute to the campaign a little bit, um,
Okay.
but it won't hurt with me metagaming. Um,
Okay.
in Dell's backstory that
Hmm.
Dell's family owned an inn that he grew up in. So I thought
Okay.
that at some point in the tale we might come across that inn. That might be a place that we stop off and visit. Um, so this might be an opportunity to create a map um,
All right.
of that inn. Something that we can do. With us going to Magdranog, it might not be a thing. Um, or we
And
could even,
really, the idea of going to Magdranog is definitely one of those things that we kind of brought into the world, but we're not really sure yet
if that's going to be what
if
happens.
that's going to happen or not because we are quickly driving different paths and I think that I would rather it flow um, a little more organically than
Sure,
just you guys are heading to Magdalene. We That was a concept we had come up with when we first started thinking about the stream.
sure.
However, I do think that there are going to be multiple ways to um, change that up and make it seem more realistic. And I think it's just I have a feeling it's going to change more than we expect.
Well,
And
and
you guys are driving that way a little bit with different concepts that you're bringing out.
sure. And who knows what the future holds? You know, maybe we're in Magdernog and you come up with a plot hook where something's going on back home that I need to go take care of, or
Mm-hmm.
we just happen to be in the neighborhood and that's somewhere I wanted to go. We don't have to do that, but I thought that would be a cool map that you and I could come up with. We could talk a little bit about Dell's backstory, kind of what drives him a little bit, and create something useful for the campaign that's not going to have me super metagaming knowing what's going on.
Correct, and that's perfect. So what I'm playing around with right now is just our foreground. So as you can see, the background is just that. The foreground is this.
Hmm.
Um, and really, if you go all the way, of course, down, you get rid of both. You have a black screen. Um, so the idea then now is to figure out what we add to it. So, um, and this can go all the way as deep as, do we want it just um, do you want just a grass field? Do you want there to be pieces of, like, because this is really fun. So you do these
Yeah,
things,
it
and
gives
then
it more depth.
you start giving little swirls of things, and you bring the opaquity down a little bit more on stuff, and you start blending in your areas, and you give it a little bit of something to it, which is something I really like to do because I don't just like, um, and sometimes it's very precise, and other times you're just really trying to get a feel that grass isn't always green.
Yeah,
I mean, let's all be honest. Nobody has, well, I wouldn't say nobody. There's probably some people on the stream that are immaculate with their grass, and that's fine. Those people are amazing and good for them. Myself, not so much. But I also don't have to take care of my grass.
we don't have
And it's fine.
grass in our yard. It's too shady. The grass won't grow, so it's mostly dirt and leaves.
See, yeah. See, but this one, like, I'm not really sure I like it because it's very dark. It's giving kind of splotchiness to it, so we can just kind of undo those and get rid of that. Um, the other nice thing is, though, is if we do this, we just kind of play around with different colors and stuff to kind of get just a basis for our um, oh god, no, way
Oh
too dark.
wow, that was
Um,
a cool shape too.
yeah. So, so
Oh,
yeah, so you can see the different shapes and stuff. So what you do then is you take these nice little shapes like this, you come down here and you drop your opaquity, you drop your size, you reduce your roughness a little bit, and you go around it. Whoa, not like that. Um, and sometimes it's more of a trial and error. So like now you've got some darkness and you go over it with this dark one spot. So and now you've got these weird spots in there. Um, and really it's a play game. So normally what I will do is I will start with one color and then I'll slowly start to dial down. I really like the difference that we were seeing. What I'm seeing here though is irritating. Um, see why it's beating me up on this.
oh, sorry guys. I know it's a little triggering when I have the mouse on the screen. I'll try to be better.
So I'm trying to blend this a little bit better.
That looks a lot better to me already.
Yeah. So like I said, you can add these spots to things, There we go. So now we're seeing some what looks more like rough terrain than you
Yeah.
are seeing. And then all you do is you just so cool thing is a lot of these have these awesome triggers, so you can really go up very little at a time. You start blending in stuff, and this is just really basic artwork that they just give you a really easy way to do it. Um, so that's always a cool thing about Inkarnate, and there's other programs such as Dungeon Forge, Dungeon Fog. There's a couple other ones that are out there. I can't campaign cartographer is amazing, but uh, it's super intricate. It takes a lot of learning, and it's just it can get really exhausting at times. Where this one is a lot different,
Have you ever
and then
tinkered
you
around with using like it's kind of an off the wall suggestion, but you could even use something like RPG Maker and use the sprites in there to make something a little bit more um, basic and like 8-bitty, I guess, if you wanted to.
so that's the one big difference I've seen, and this is only for the actual stuff itself, is that the um, RPG Maker and Dungeon Draft, which is the version that's kind of like this, but it's non-payable. It's only one time fee, and it's got a great GUI to it. Only problem I have with it is the type of style of artwork, just not really my thing.
Yeah,
Um, it's very cartoony. It's very one-dimensional, and I really think that's one thing that, as you can tell just by the artwork here, um, it's much more in depth on all the different sprites and all the different stamps.
and honestly, I can see why you immediately were attracted to Foundry when we were messing with it last night because it's very
Hmm.
similar artwork. It's a very
Yeah, so
similar art style.
yeah. Um, so the map I was using last night was from here. So I
Oh, did you
imported
actually
it
use it here?
from yeah, I imported it from Incarnate.
Well, even the the stamps that we were using last night from the
Yeah, so the
SRD with all
stamps
the
were a lot
monsters.
more. Yeah, so the stamps were a lot more as well, and I really liked that about them. And there's other things that they're coming out with, and they're literally dropping a new update on Incarnate here in like the next couple of days, and they've been saying it for a minute, but slowly but surely, I think we'll see it here shortly. Um, and these are really cool. So my goal is to build your in tonight. And then what you can do is you can utilize Incarnate, you can utilize Dungeon Draft, and then you can utilize Foundry to kind of play together. I wish there was an Incarnate version that didn't make me pay it monthly, but that is one of our downfalls of having a subscription based system. One of the upsides of that is, though, of course, is that it's always updating.
Updates, yeah.
So, um, but what you do is you do all the artwork in here, and then you take it over to Dungeon Draft and you do all of the dynamic lighting and all the shadowing and stuff like that there, and then you do a direct import from there to Foundry.
I
So that's my plan is probably going to be from now on, just because the artwork or the dynamic lighting can be presented in Dungeon Draft. I can see it all, and then I can just import it, and we're done.
So that
Um,
is one of the reasons I wanted to do. I brought up doing um, the inn, my family's inn, is because one of the
mhm.
things I had in mind is that my father is also an agent of Jinx, and
Ah,
I would think that somewhere in the inn there was a hidden door, which was one of the tools that you were playing with last night,
right,
that maybe led to a small private chapel that he had built where he could keep
nice.
his tools and maybe a small shrine to Jinx,
Yeah. So
so
one
that
thing
he could worship.
I'm so because we're working in an in base, and this is only I wouldn't do this all the time, but one thing that Incarnate has come up with that is very useful, especially for dungeon masters, is I have the ability to clone people who've already done work, and then I can go in and I can remodel their stuff and make it my own,
Yeah.
which is really cool. But we're going to try to completely build an inn tonight.
And we
Um,
don't have to do that, James. I just thought it would be kind of a cool uh,
no, it will.
thing.
Um, so hold on, let me just save this real quick, and we'll do a quick show of that because I mean my artworks can be great through Incarnate, but there's some really amazing. We're just gonna call this grass right now.
That is a useful template to have for later.
Yeah. So I mean, and the other cool thing is if you get stamps that you can import into Foundry, this does allow me then to make that quick map I need because then I can just grab stamps, throw them on the page, and I'm done in the scene. But we're going to go back to our maps, and some you can see some of the other maps I've made. So like the library encounter that we saw last week, it's literally a map that I had altered, um, and it's all done for us.
That is a really
So
cool map.
it was a really cool map. I really liked it. When it popped up on my screen, there was a little bit of stuff on on each side, and I was like, nope, needs to go. This is a map I made all by myself. This was pretty cool. This was a map for another game of mine.
That is
They were
pretty.
going in, they were trying to find these strange bugs that lived underneath the waterfall for our our lycanthrope team of that they're the lycanthrope camp that they're taking care of right now, and they needed these bugs to make medicinal herbs and stuff and mix with medicinal herbs to make healing potions. Well, they ran into a bunch of hobgoblins and goblins and some orcs in here, and it was a fun combat. It was also when my party decided to play Scooby Doo and split off, so that was great too. You know, it's always fun.
Hate it when they
So
split the party.
right, so but what I was going to show you is if you go here to explore, and this is giving away a secret, but you know that's okay. Um, you can go to fantasy battle maps, and if you click on this nice little thing here called most cloned, um, anything that's clonable you can grab. So let's say we wanted to do it in tonight, and we wanted to model it in as fast as we can and make it as close to what your concept is. We go down to one of these inns here, which they have 1,000 inns. Like, if I need an inn, I have an inn.
Yeah.
There's inns everywhere. Um, and some of these are just immaculate. Temple, uh,
Some cool boats.
I mean, just checking these out is just great times. Um,
That's a good place to
one
get ideas for
downfall,
a campaign, even if you're not
yeah.
sure
So
where to send the
I
party next.
do. So yeah, so a lot of times I will do that too. Is I'll start digging through this kind of the insides of my mind. Is that I'll start going through and I'll look at images. I'll be like, okay, so my party's going here. The bad guy could be this, or this is the direction they're moving. What do I need? Um, and then of course you've always got the easy ones like the campsite or the ship. Like heaven forbid people want to go on the ship. Hey, there's that. Um, there's the library right there. So I'm trying to see. So I just want a simple inn. You know, there's got to be a simple inn. What's this one? It's just called the inn. Let's see what it looks like.
Good luck, James. Nothing is simple.
Right? Yeah. So um, it's kind of neat the way they did this. So they've got their cellar, which could be like a secret door that you
Yeah,
could go
for
down
sure.
to. I don't know why we've got stables of dragons. That's just scary. Let's not. We're not going to touch that.
Dragon Riders
Uh,
Return.
yeah. Right. Such a fantastic book. Actually, where I first started my whole collaborative writing fantasy world concepts.
I'm trying to think
So
back,
many,
and it's weird.
so many years ago.
I guess it's pretty hokey and tropey, but I guess my first like real fantasy book was The Hobbit was probably where I started. Um, and then I remember to this day it's still hard for me to read Lord of the Rings because I read The Hobbit and then I read The Fellowship, and I was in uh, junior high, and
Mm-hmm.
they didn't have a copy of Two Towers or Return of the King in
Oh
our junior
God.
high library. It was in the high school library because they considered it too advanced for junior high kids. So I had to wait like 2 years to rent this to check the book out, and I was like, the hell with it. So it's still not as beloved, I guess, as The Hobbit will always be to me until those
Yeah,
movies came out.
no, and I think it's kind of one of those things. I was, I mean, I guess I was an oddity, I guess you would say, when it comes to uh, how I got into D&D and how I got into all this stuff. I got into uh, fantasy writing when I was probably, I don't know, middle school, maybe. I mean, I might have been 10 when I started doing fantasy writing. Um, there's an old program called Neopets, and it really was just like the new age slot machines and stuff that you can kind of just go on, play, have a good time, and then come back. Um, and before we get on that tangent, you can see here. So the only downfall that Inkarnate has, and hopefully they're fixing. I don't know if they're going to or not yet. Is that their their buildings, they can't be restructured yet. So I'll show you what I mean here in a second. Get off this map. That's just a custom map that I was trying to import to make things work better for me, and it never worked. Um, so modular. So you've got modular buildings here. So to build your walls and stuff, you have to take pieces, put your pieces down. You got to line them up, shadow them out to kind of make your frame.
Hmm.
Um, Dungeon Draft has a really cool tool where you can just draw, and it builds it all. It
Oh,
builds it
okay.
all for you, um, which I thought was really cool. Um,
So less of a stamp and more of an actual drawing tool.
yeah, yeah. So it's actually a drawing tool, and it's only for the walls. It's
Huh.
walls and caverns specifically. Um, so yeah, so for that kind of thing, it's kind of where it goes. So if we wanted to do it this way, we'd have to turn it, put our concept. So let's just, even if we only get the first floor built, I don't know how big your
Not
dome.
huge. It's just a small roadside inn, but it's been in the family for a while. Several generations have owned this little inn, so it's well loved and worn kind of around the edges.
Right. So we're just going to build a small frame. And of course, we can model this and change it and manipulate it as we see. But we have our in. Um, and then you go in back into textures, and you what you do then is you bump up the certain things. So you bump up you go to a different, let's say, what looks good? Do you think it'd be a darker, a lighter? What do you think
Probably
the
probably
floor
darker.
would be? Okay. Do we
Uh,
want the crosshatch? Do we want the like almost worn floor?
yeah, it would be worn from just like I said.
Okay.
In my mind, this has been in the family
Right.
for a few generations.
Do that. Try to do this. And then we're going to no turn it. It's been a minute since I've used it this way, but um oh wait, that's why. Foreground. We're not going to do foreground. We are going to should be able to raise it. Was it not going to let me? Yeah, because then you can bring it down or you can bring it up. So if you wanted to,
Ooh.
so you can see the lightness, the darkness, stuff like that. Um, apply. See now we have
Oh,
a
very cool.
so now you have a we have a wooden uh, inn. So yeah, so you start. you start breaking through things like this, and you can even get really detailed and put, I don't know, you get spots on it and change up the color and wear it down. We're not going to do that probably that tonight, just
Yeah,
because
and
we got a
I
little bit.
picture this. I picture this inn being worn but very clean. Um,
Okay,
it's a pleasant place, but it's kind of it's been there forever.
right. So we need a kitchen.
Yeah,
We
small
need
kitchen,
normal kitchen.
area for a small stage.
Okay, so
Because that was Dell's father is also a performer. That's also his cover as he does his work within Jinx's temple.
okay, so let's start with our stage then. From what I've worked so far with in Inkarnate, stages I usually make out of carpet, but we
Hmm.
can come up with other options if we can. And the really the reason is because you can make a rug, and you can make the rug big enough
Yeah,
to make it look like a stage.
yeah.
Uh, Raising the stage, I haven't seen anything yet that I would uh,
Hmm.
consider. Let's see here, broken royal bit. Oh wait, that's why. Let's go down here. Temple training decoration album. And I would never really state that I'm a master map maker. I try my best. I try to make something look decent. But
You've
I'm
got some hours
still,
in for sure.
yeah, and it can take a while. Like that's the other problem is this isn't just like I said, it's not one of those things where you can jump into it, get it done, and then kind of let it go. No, you've got to work with it and keep working on it. And let's see here. So we've got a bunch of different rugs. So you've got a bunch of rugs you can put down. Trying to see if there's like it's like the bedside stuff and chopped logs, like these types of things that show multiple. So what they'll do is you can then extend it, so you can see all the different types
Oh
of
yeah,
beds,
yeah.
fireplaces, uh, chopped logs, and you can layer those to make it so they actually look like they're staggered and whatnot. So
Hmm.
it's really kind of a neat tool. So, but back to our discussion. So we've got stools, bookshelves, ladders, extra rugs. I mean, we've got
There's a
rugs
lot
of
of
all
rugs.
stuff. There's a lot of rugs. And you really got to think that back in the old days, kind of what the stage was, if you think about it, it wasn't this massive like platform. I mean, you could probably build one, um, but it was more known for artists and minstrels to kind of uh, dance through the tavern. At least that's what I always see, especially when you see the uh, old movies or video games. When you walk in and they're playing, they're not usually just sitting in a corner somewhere playing. They're interacting with uh, the audience. They're having fun.
And
Um,
that's kind of Dell and his dad's whole deal is they can. It's like we were talking about when we were talking about the character concept originally. Is how many times have you been in an inn in D&D and there's always music playing, but how many times have you actually looked at the musicians? They're
right.
there and they're on a stage and there's lights on them, but they're kind of hiding in plain sight. You know,
Yes.
um,
Yeah.
and that's I think that's kind of the particular type of training that and kind of subterfuge that Dell and his family are involved in is
We might be able to.
that actually
Now
looks
I
fine.
was like, that's not bad.
It's
Now, would
not
you say so? Would you say that this would be at the front or the back, or how would or the side?
probably off to the side.
Okay. So
Where,
let's place it. So what
yeah.
we'll do then is we'll place it here. We'll raise um, our layer for it, and then we will do what I like to do, which is then you start layering. So then you go here and let's find a nice rug.
Yeah, probably a green rug, a green or a
Yeah,
gray
green rug.
rug.
We got purple or green rug. So what we're gonna do is we'll make it bigger enough to expand over it. We'll lay that rug, and we're gonna drop that. There we go.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. I like that.
So yeah, so you can see where you can kind of play with the layering, and you can shape it and make it. That's what I wanted to do, but and then now you can see that it kind of lands straight up against the wall, but it's not so badly that it's going outside the wall, which
Right.
is really kind of a neat tool. Um, so we've got ourselves our stage, and you can go really detailed with this. So let's play a little. Let's have a little bit more fun with it. And we're only going to go for about another half hour. So if anybody has any ideas, or if you'd like to chime in on what you want to see in this guy's place, feel free to. This is Dell's family's establishment, but I'm sure they would be more than happy to hear your opinions and discussions. So
Oh yeah, Dell didn't build it, so I'm not gonna be super picky with what it
we've
looks
got a
like.
little. I mean, you can even go all like I said. You can go down to the point where you got a small
Like a loot.
a loot hanging off the. Oh, hold on. Let's get ourselves some.
There you
There we
go.
go.
Now
Then
it's
you
on the
go
right
back.
layer.
Yeah, that's the only thing is you got to play around with layers a little bit. Um, you got piano, bench, couch, uh, candles,
There'd probably be a
glass.
small stool up there for him to play on.
Okay. You can find stools. Stools are around here somewhere.
Yeah, there's got to be stools in there, surely.
There's a stool.
Yeah.
Place that right. Actually, you know what we'll do is we'll place that right there. Spin around our. And we'll rest that kind of underneath the stool. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that's
Look at
cool.
that.
I like that.
And then, like I said, then you can really zoom in. You can have some fun with it. So you get really close, right? And then you come in here and you grab, just because we're in a tavern, right? So you'll grab a bottle, and we'll place a bottle. We'll shrink the bottle down super small. You place two bottles right next to each other. So now when you zoom out, you've got your bottles that are laying next to the stool. You got water for your actors, um, and you can even have one kind of tipped over, like um, so like you have one laying on its side. It depends because when you think about it, when your players are playing, and it's something you always want to look at is you've got to so your establishment is pretty big. So you always want to also look at that point as well. So we'd want to raise our grid size or lower it, I mean. So you want to get it down to probably about that. So if somebody is sitting on that stool, it would take up everything.
Yeah.
Um, and then what you do though is once you get the size that you want, then you can come back up down here and you can actually raise your sizes a little bit more because if that's a 5 foot cube, well then you've got to kind of make your items a little bigger. Um, and the minute details of like how to position and stuff like that is really kind of a, a unique um, a unique thing as well. And then a really cool thing you can do. So I can go over here to objects and up where's my objects? There it is, bottles. So if I need all these bottles and I need them to go bigger, now make them bigger. all at once and move them all at once rather than trying to figure out how to do it. I don't really like this bottleneck. I thought I liked it, but I don't really like it. So move off to the side a little more. And sometimes you kind of have to go using the objects tool on the right to actually be able to click what you're looking for because sometimes things get so small and whatnot. So, all right, so we have our stage. Now, what do we need? Well,
A bar.
I'm sure, and just because of where we're at, we're going to need stairs because there's got to be a second floor to this,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So let's toss some stuff in here that it's more of our logics, our logistics right now. So maybe some. Let's get a wooden stairwell. Yeah, yeah, wooden stairs. And of course, you got to make those bigger because So you kind of line those up with your kind of, and that's heading up to wherever.
Right.
And it at least gives you some idea of like, okay, so there is a secondary floor to it. And there's other ways to make it so that it doesn't look crazy and you can drop it so that there is no shadow. So like you can see there's no shadow now. The object has a shadow, that kind of thing. So,
Mm.
all right, so we've got this, we've got our thing. Now's our question is, are we doing, are we going to do the outside or would you like to do the inside first?
Probably the inside, I would think.
Okay. So the way we're going to do that then is do we want it tables, booths, seats?
Probably
What we
just
look.
tables.
Okay. How many tables do you want?
Oh, I would think no more than 4 or 5, probably. It's not a. It's
And I'm
not a
guess
giant inn.
and I'm guessing they're not fancy.
No, they're not super fancy. They're nice, but they're not. They're well
Okay.
maintained, but they're nothing like royalty would use.
Right. So this is where it comes down to a little bit more of a. It becomes more of uh, a questionable thing here. So then you got to figure out like how big you want the table, because you've got a 5 foot square in either side. Um, you said there's four, so let's kind of stagger them. Let's give some space. All right. And then because we got tables out here. Of course, we have to throw a small fireplace in because it gets cold at times.
Yeah.
So this is kind of the concepts that you have to start thinking about as you build your games. And I know most of us are aware of these things, but some people can just they're little things that you just kind of you don't think about. Um, a little fireplace there, just enough to keep some heat in. And then of course you got to play fun way. So you go over here and you look for some candles. Do a little candle in the middle. Why not?
Yeah.
Right?
Something for a little ambiance.
Yeah, see a little candle.
And that'll be really cool in Foundry because we can actually, with those, we could give them lighting
Yeah, so then
effects.
you give them a little lighting effect to make it so that they actually have that dim glow to them, or even you could even have fun with it and actually have them vibrate the glow
Yeah.
or like a flicker.
The torch effect
Um,
that we found.
yeah, so these are really, and the cool thing is though is like you can even get really really creative with by using random stamps then. So random. allows you to kind of go in here, and I can go, okay, I need pots, I need plates, I need or food. Even food's the best one to do it with, food and bottles, stuff like that. And this is yet again something that really one thing that Dungeon Draft has done better, in my opinion, is stuff like that. So, but they do have some better artwork. I don't really like their small artwork, but yet then again, it's supposed to be small on the screen, so there's always that option too. Um, so now we got to figure out what's next. So we've got our let's go back. So we've got our tables. Let's put some chairs in because people need chairs.
Yeah.
Uh, are we doing chairs or stools?
Chairs, I would think. Something
Okay, so
that's a little bit more comfortable.
left or right?
I like the one on the right, I think.
This one?
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna shrink those chairs down because they're big.
They're big.
So bring them down a bit. And then the cool thing, like I said, is we can have fun with this, and I can go and drop those underneath. It looks like we're gonna have to actually.
Oh, so you can put them underneath the table layer.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yep. So, and then you can also you can spin them too. So I can go. So I do one there. One there. One there. One there. Now, what I should have done is this, knowing that we're going to do this, and I'm going to do this as our way of doing it, is you just copy this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I come down here, and I'm just going to delete these real quick. And I'm just going to paste it. So now I don't have to do all that anymore. I don't have to go back and redo my chairs and stuff like that.
Yeah, time saving.
Yeah, so it's just super time saving.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, apparently when you do it once, it doesn't let you do it again. There he goes. Okay, cool. So let's restructure these a little bit. So let's put him back where he was. And I kind of line it on the candle, just because it's kind of what the center point would be of your table.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of coming around cool. So then what you do is you get your table and you bump that up. And of course you get we didn't do that. Hold on, let me hit control and set the candle. So now you get your table and chairs.
Yeah, we probably should have duplicated it at this stage, but that's okay.
We probably should. And
you live, you learn.
Yeah, we do. What? All right, now you're just being a pain in my butt. Come here. I swear I selected that, but
I thought you did too.
Yeah, it's not.
That's looking great, James. It really is coming around with just a few little touches.
All right. So yeah, I mean, like I said, it doesn't. Oh my goodness, this irritates the crap out of me. Here we go. Apparently, 2 of them want to work, 2 of them don't. Whatever. So yeah, really just showing people how that just a little bit of changes can really put some uniqueness to your maps.
Yeah,
and
and
I think
maybe even rotate the whole stencil of the tables like a little bit so they don't look quite as uniform. If you're not in a hurry.
Oh yeah.
So that gives them a little bit of like difference.
Yeah, no, you can definitely.
So we've now got the same table design, but it looks like they're individually crafted because they're all slightly off kilter from each other.
Yeah, so you get a little bit of a shuffle there, and people aren't going to be, and you can even play around with that a little more, and you can kind of move. So we move the whole thing just
slightly out of center.
Slightly out of center. One reason I would say center is just good is because you can then place it. But the problem with center is you're trying to find people to be able to like I said, this goes down to the whole crafting the encounter though is the problem. So
yeah.
if you want people to be able to sit there, so
Yep.
let's say
It has
the
to be in a
table
cube.
it has to be in a cube because
Yeah.
that's how it's built. Um, and yet again, it's one of those things where it's also you have to, and I know you know this, and a lot of people do know this, but this is where you have to bring in some theater of the mind, where not everything on on the counter is going to look the same, uh, and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, and now let's add our. And I'll tell you, this is probably one of the nicest ends I've made. So we're
Yeah,
having
it
fun
looks
with it.
good. It looks good. Thanks to all of our viewers. We actually have several viewers in here today, James, and we didn't
Well, that's
think that
awesome.
we would get anybody. So thank you for joining us on our little kind of mini building stream here.
Building stream. Please, if you haven't seen us yet, or you have this the first time you're witnessing our shenanigans, please throw us a follow, so that you can check out our actual like full live campaign,
Hmm.
where Dell, along with a bunch of other misfits, are diving through the world of Xyathe. And, it's a lot of fun. We're really enjoying it.
Yeah, we play
They're
on Sundays at 8 Central, 9 Mountain or 9 Eastern. Is that right?
Mhm. Yep, 9 Eastern,
And
8 Central, 7 Mountain.
7 Mountain. I'm learning all the
Yeah,
time zones.
yeah. Trust me. You start streaming and stuff, you got to learn random stuff that you're like, did I really ever need this? But apparently
Yeah.
you do. So of course, then you got to have your bar, right? So, but what we're gonna do first, before we do that, is let's put in some walls, because what we haven't added yet is our kitchen slash other rooms. Um, so these are those things I was telling you about, where they kind of create it for you. Um, and sometimes that's great, but a lot of times I need something that's a little less blocky.
Yeah.
So, because like this, I can build it all real quick, done, boom,
Hmm.
it's game. Problem with that is that it's literally this, so I don't want that. So, um, and there's different ones you can play around with. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down here. We're going to go back to our modular building. Now, we need to get our walls again. So we're going to build same walls that we used because it would be similar. We might have to do some shrinking on these because they're going to be a little uh, long. I have a feeling. Yes, very long. Um, do some shrinking, shall we? There we go. Be a little thinner, but figure it out. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Got a similar wall. Now I need a bigger. There we go. Up that up a little bit. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a little. And what I would do for this, truthfully, is I would make sure that I had all my walls here at a probably a 2, and then I would bump this down to a 1. What we're going to do is we're just going to drop this one down row, and we're going to put it in here. See if you can't see it. There we go. And this might be a little too small. We might have to move that out one. Give Dad some space. Because he really doesn't want to be crammed up in there. I mean, I wouldn't.
Yeah. No.
So, um, like I said, and this is where the whole uh, here for a second, so I can see what I'm looking. Like the lining up part starts getting a little obnoxious.
Yeah. A
Uh,
little tedious.
yeah, because they don't give you much. Where in Dungeon Draft, all this they take all this out. So if I wanted to just build this wall, I just build a wall.
Hmm.
Um, so what we're gonna do here, we're gonna kind of cheat. See if I can cheat this one. Might not be able to. You know what? Let's not do it tonight. Tonight's supposed to be less of a hassle. So this is where it kind of gets, in all honesty, this is where it starts getting tedious, and you start playing around with all sorts of just things that you want your building to do, and
Yeah.
now I can add a. Oh no, what did I do? Hit the wrong button. That's what I did. See, even I do that. So let's turn it here. So then, of course, this would be your door. Not a big fan of it, actually. Let's see if we can see what other doors we have. Maybe there are doors in here that look better. Maybe just a swinging door. Not a swinging door. I really don't know if I like that even.
Yeah.
Goodness. Can I get the rest of the door to just kind of go away? Eh, don't like that. Hold on. Reverse. Let's go back to our wall. Over that. There we go.
Yeah, that's
Not
better.
not even, but I do see something we'd have to fix, of course. There's an issue there. Let's see. I'm not gonna sit here and fix this tonight. I might come back and fix it later.
Yeah.
Um, it's because it's gonna take some layering adjustments to make it so it doesn't pop out on the other side of the screen and stuff like
Yeah, it's
that.
just broad concepts tonight.
Yeah, but now, like I said, and I mean, we've put together a pretty decent building in one night. You know, so we've got our building. Uh, certain certain programs are a little better than others with this kind of thing. One thing I do like about Dungeon Draft is they have a lot of unique uh, items for the inns. I don't know what it is, why they love the inn so much, which everybody loves an inn, but they just have so many pieces that
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
specifically for an inn that there's just so much. Um, and you can really play around with it because like you have elven stuff. So like if you had some weird, I wouldn't even say weird, but if you let's say there was an elven influence that your dad or somebody would be.
My evening's fine.
You're welcome. Uh, that you would be questioning, or you were trying to model, you could then give that little elven influence or whatnot.
Hmm.
Trying to find. In all honesty, what I'm looking for is like an oven.
Yeah.
A I
Uh,
don't see one.
furnace. Yeah.
Furnace. I saw a cauldron, but a cauldron's not what I'm looking for.
Yeah, that doesn't seem quite right.
No, that's more like Mary
I, s-
Poppins, or
I
not
s-
Mary Poppins, like Baba Yaga. Like
yeah. I suppose you could shrink it down and it could be just a regular cooking pot.
yeah,
But
but really, I'm shocked that they don't have an oven.
yeah, that's odd. Are they searchable? By the way, can you search
They
what
are,
you're
so
looking for?
you can do that oven, kitchen, uh,
Hmm.
yeah. So one of those things, and the other cool thing is if you really have the time and energy to do it, and my artwork isn't the greatest, but of course, as we continue our stream and our friends that seem to like our stream and want to come over and help us with some of these crazy ideas that we have, um, you can import. So like you can actually go up and get customized. You can upload customized stamps. One thing I thought about doing. I don't know how the whole idea of using a stamp from one program to another is going to fly. So try not to make the gods of Inkarnate mad. What we can do though, because we had talked about this already, is we can give our little trap door. So, and this could be a cellar, or this could be where the shrine sits for.
Well, I was almost thinking James under the stage because
Oh,
this was actually in Dell's mother's family for generations. So maybe
okay,
Dell's father built the stage himself, and while he was building his stage, he hollowed out a little space underneath for
okay.
a door down into a hidden chamber.
Oh, nice. At that point, it'd be more of something that you would have to do theater of the mind wise. We wouldn't be able
Yeah,
to really reveal it. Um, but that would definitely, it's definitely something that could be easily done.
yeah.
Let's see. So we have our, that's what we'll do next. So we'll put our bar out now. Now we'll place our bar behind it. And we'll make it double. You know, people like to drink.
Yeah.
So, and then we'll toss our stools out. So we'll shrink our stools down a little bit. Roll button. Pop some stools. Got it. And then we'll drop our. Uh, let me rephrase it. Let me bump our tables up to 2. And let me drop our stool then down to a 1. By doing that, is that a table? That's a table. That's not more. Here's a stool. Table. Here's a stool.
There's a
There we
stool.
go. Here's. We'll bring that up a little bit. We'll place that right there underneath. You can see very easily. Really, in all honesty, for most encounters, like even something I would run, this is more than enough on an encounter
Yeah.
table or on an encounter for me to move my monsters around, to set everything up, to prep everything of what's going on. Um, and it's simple. And of course, you can. And then once you do, you start going into things like last week. We ran into windows. So
Mhm.
windows, right? So you got windows. And you start placing your windows. So you raise your uh, so then you do is you raise your layers so that it pops over that window or where it's at. So
Mhm.
we'll put it and you go in between the two slats because that's where a window plays, and you
Right.
start placing your window.
Yeah, it looks good.
So like have 2 sets of windows that are now sitting there. And you can do a window in the kitchen, or you can do the window on the side or whatnot. You just kind of start playing with it, and the reason I like it is that if I really need to show a detail, um, I can show it. But if I really just need something plain that I need somebody to be able to go in real quick
Mhm.
and utilize, I have that option too. So like we could even do something crazy. Like let's zoom out a little bit and let's make it bigger. And let's turn it because why not? And you start building out the back end of things. So you've got okay, so he's got a wheelbarrow in the backyard. So why is that there? And then you put some boxes in there. And that could even be something that if you get creative with. So let's say, and this is now my dungeon mastermind floating in the world. Um, is it, now I'm going to zoom in here. Uh oh, come on! I need to be able to see. Come here. There we go.
There it goes.
There we go. So we're going to zoom in here. We're going to drop some boxes in this thing. We're going to stack this sucker full of boxes. So
Yeah, and maybe even out of the side, there's a small little garden with some herbs and stuff. You never know. There's
Yeah,
all kind of cool stuff you can do.
a lot of cool things you can do in here. What I was thinking though is, okay, so you've got an encounter, right? Well, now I've got boxes in the back.
Hmm.
Well, what can I do with this? Well, maybe if I go out the back door now, I can use the boxes to get to the second floor and come
Yeah.
into the surprise.
Hmm.
So little details like this now you give your players then that option that if they really look at the map, um,
Or maybe
they can.
there's maybe they're looking for something hidden that's been tucked away,
Yep.
and maybe it's in one of the boxes. Or maybe
Yeah.
there's a healing potion or something in there.
Yeah.
Um,
So I mean, it could be anything really.
hmm.
I mean, you can do a little well in the back. So you well a little bigger, of course. Well, so everybody needs a well. You need water somehow, right?
Hmm.
You need barrels. You start dropping barrels in the back here for people to. And then what you do then is it's like you want it to make it look like they're stacked. So then you drop this one's uh, layer,
Oh,
and
below. Yeah.
now it structures differently.
Hmm.
Uh, so yeah, there's a lot of really cool things that you can do, and it's very quick that you can do them to really change what it looks like.
Yeah.
We so one thing we are missing, funny enough, we didn't put these in. Kind of need to. There's no door. I can't get in.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
Yeah. You have to go
Um,
in the window.
right. Um, new stamp set. New stamp set. Okay. Why are you saying new stamp set? I don't know what I'm looking at. Okay, I'm looking at doors. Uh, door frame. Cool. I need a door. Um, let's see what they give us. So maybe they can get more than just that. So look, so you get more doors. So then you do crazy doors. Like you need crazy doors like that.
Yeah. Like a space door.
Right? Or a stone room door. Like why? But um, wooden frame. Uh, and do the dual sets like spin it around here. Let's see. There you go.
Yeah,
If you
that looks
want, you
great.
so then what you do is you take it back here and you go do a second door. Let's say so the wall would be here. Probably either be on this wall here or be on this wall behind the.
Yeah, I was thinking in the kitchen that door on the right, that wall on the right.
Oops, hold on.
Uh oh.
That's the only downfall. So we were locked. So it's locked into the structure. So then you got this one now. So you now got a door goes out on the right hand side. And you might want to rebuild the walls a little bit and make it look so it's a little less opening. But at the same time, it's still going to have a door frame around it. So you got to kind of use your imagination a little bit, but at least gives you some idea that you're coming in and out of doors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have level one of Dell's Father's Inn
Yeah.
in less than in about an hour.
About an hour.
So,
Yeah.
and like I said, there's other things you can put in it. We could have put plates on the tables. We could have put mugs on the bar. You could have put little rugs underneath all the tables. There's a little details that you can add, but for a quick map to get it done and get it out for your players, and some DMs don't have 6 hours to make a crazy map. We can go back through and you can add little. I'm looking more for bushes. I don't see. This says trees, but there's bush. They add little bushes to the sides there. Stuff.
Oh yeah, that's great. That
The
looks
cool thing with
wonderful.
that, cool thing with these though is that you can come over here to the random stamp. So the random stamp then selects these at random.
Oh, that's really cool. That's a cool
So then
idea
you
for a tool.
so then you just kind of you don't really know what you're gonna get.
Yeah,
So I don't really like it, but I'd have to come back through and play around. I'm
yeah.
not a big fan of the bushes right now. We're gonna kill them. Another thing you've got to think about is okay, so we're in the medieval times. Um, so, and this is normally something I will put out for my player or for my ends, and that's just kind of more of a mindless thought that for some reason I always think about. I've got to find it. Is a trough, which
Hmm.
they don't have one. Great, that makes no life. We might have to do um, another video, and we'll do the different. We'll make this exact same thing in Dungeon Draft and see which one we would like better.
One thing that might be cool to do, James, is do a video where we take this map to Foundry
Oh
and
yeah,
add all of the cool stuff that Foundry utilize all those tools.
oh yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
Um, so has anybody enjoyed tonight and got to notice or see anything? It looks like we've dropped a little bit on viewers.
We have a little bit, but that's okay.
We have Sadist Kitty, welcome.
Saddest Kitty.
Saddest Kitty, my bad.
Sadist Kitty is a different Kitty.
I was gonna say I was a little confused there, but yeah, Saddest Kitty, welcome.
Saddest Kitty
Uh,
is here from time to time. It's good to see you back.
yeah, and Briss
Bristle Rich is
Bristol,
new.
that's new.
Bloodluster is new.
Welcome.
Um, Decimus is in here.
Yeah, I see that.
So we've
Not
got several
joining us
folks.
he's not joining us on our stream tonight, but he's welcome to chat in.
Yeah, but I think James, do you want to call it there for tonight?
I think so. I think it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm going to actually before we call it because I feel generous tonight. Give me 1 second. Let me cancel. I almost deleted the whole thing. I'm really mad. Let me do my save changes. So we're gonna save this real quick. It's currently saved as grass, but we will fix that in a minute.
Yeah.
Excuse me. We're gonna return to our map. We're going to edit our grass. Well, maybe I gotta edit here. Hold on. This part's always something I gotta remember how to do. Hold on. Edit me map. There we go. We're not grass anymore. So we are Dell's fathers in. Uh, to learn this tale, we'll have come join our street or our campaign. It is a tale. Yep. All right. So what we're gonna do? Save that again. Make sure you get saved. Then I'm going to I place this so that we can give you it. I think that is just we made this together. I believe it should be delivered together. Um, we're gonna import that image. Share link.
Oh, cool. And drop it in the.
We're gonna publish this. No, not a, not.
Maybe share it on our Facebook.
Yeah, we're gonna share it on the Facebook too. But we're gonna drop it in here right now to
Cool.
our fellows. Um, and then I'll share it on Facebook too.
Maybe we do that off stream so they don't
Yeah,
see.
yeah, we'll do that. Makes sense.
So they don't see, just in case your passwords or something are up.
Right? Yeah.
But we'll
Uh,
post that on our Facebook.
yeah, we'll post this on our Facebook and our Discord, and
Yeah.
And I hope that everybody had a little bit of fun tonight. Hopefully, next time we do our map, we'll have a couple more people in here, and we have some people chiming in, and we'll really collaborate on building our next map that we'll use in one way, shape, or form. I can always find ways to use maps.
Sure.
Um, Maybe we'll come up with an image or a small story to lead us in on our map. But thank you all for coming. Like I said, we will pop everything into our Facebook, and you can get the link there at the bottom in Twitch stream. Um, please come and join us on Sunday. Keep an eye out for us this week as we're gonna do probably a collaborative connection between Inkarnate and Foundry later this week. We've also talked about maybe playing a little co-op game between the four of us, three of us. So if you really enjoy listening to me talk, listening to my friends talk, we'd love to have you guys again. Um, and until then, may all your nights be sticky. Haha! Have a good night.
Bye.